Good morning, world. Today we're talking about tips for working with adults who suffer from ADHD. A while back, I did a video for with things that every adult with ADHD needs to have. If you didn't catch that video, I'll click up here. I'll link it for you. If you are the adult with ADHD, you may want to share this particular video with people you work with. If you are a team leader who know that you have a person on your team who suffer from ADHD, this video is for you. Okay, to get started, 5 tips for working with adults with ADHD. The first one is that a written follow-up is important because people with ADHD like and need to have things written down. So when you've had a conversation on something that is of value, something that is important that you want the person to remember, it's nice and important to follow that information, follow that meeting up with an email. That does 2 things. One, it provides the person with the written format that they like and need to have. And it also helps with the visual people because some of us are visual and others are auditory. So if you are dealing with a visual person, sending that follow-up email also helps deliver the message in the method that is most effective for them, which is, the written visual. Okay. So the first thing is a written follow-up to anything that you want the person to remember. Second is to provide enough but not too much time. Because a person who is managing their ADHD has a really, really good calendar. They generally have a calendar where they outline their day, they outline what they're doing, they plan things. So if you are looking to have the person do something, you need to give them enough time for your request to make it to their calendar without throwing things, too far out of whack, without putting chaos into the person's day. Give them enough time for your request to make it to the calendar, but do not give them so much time that things or your request ends up getting forgotten or just thrown by the wayside because too much time is passing and they just forgot about you. So enough time that whatever it is can get done, even a little bit extra time, but not so much time that you get forgotten about. 3 is prioritize and spread your requests. Usually when a person is suffering from ADHD, their brain is already on that sensory overload. They are going into so many different places. If you give them 20 things to do, they will start 22 things. Yes, I realize I said 20 and they will start 22. They multitask. People with ADHD, they like multitasking, especially if the person is not properly managing their ADHD. They will go and start working on everything that they have. And what ends up happening is when you're working on 22 things is that none of the 22 get done. So as much as possible, prioritize your requests and spread them out. Ask the person to do 1 or 2 things at a time and then when that's done, give them the other stuff instead of giving them everything at once and have them try to prioritize all of them at the same time, which you don't prioritize 22 things at the same time. You can only do that a few or 1 at a time. So make sure you prioritize and spread things so that you don't send them into sensory overload. 4 is to stay focused and be consistent. Again, that has to do with the same line of sensory overload, because if the person's brain is already trying to go in so many different places all at the same time, and then they have you doing the same thing on the other side, it's hard enough to manage what's going on inside them. Now you're asking them to manage what you're doing outside. Stay focused. If you are talking about project A, talk about project A. And when you're finished with project A, move to project B. Don't do project A, B, C, and D at the same time. If you're talking about a policy, be consistent. Whatever it is, if you preferences, changes, whatever it is that you're doing, that you're asking, that you're talking about, be consistent. What it was on Monday should be the same on Friday. You shouldn't be things should not just be changing because it's a new day and the sun came up today. You have to be consistent when work to help your team. And finally, respect their time and their space. If you see the person working, avoid disturbing them. It's nice to stop in and say, hey John, how you doing? Did you catch the game today? And trust me, they really, really, really do appreciate you stopping in and, wanting and asking about their day in the chit chat. However, that you're doing them a disservice, because if the person starts working, it takes them 10, 20, 15, 5, however long it took them to get into that Zen space of being focused on something. And then you come in and have a 2-minute chit chat with them that stops their progress. And when you go back, when the conversation ends and you go back to your office, they're still sitting there trying to, re-zen in order to get back to that space that they were before you disrupted them. So as much as possible, avoid the disruptions. That includes avoid the random phone call, avoid the email that beeps, because more than likely it chimes, and it's not even just people with ADHD who do that. Everybody now seems to be, or a lot of people now seem to be doing that, where if it dings, we have that compulsion to see what dinged. But avoid the constant emails. If you need to send in information, send one email instead of sending 20 emails. And if you see the person working, please do not disturb them, because they enjoy, they appreciate, they like that you care enough to stop in and say hey. But when you stop in and say hey, you are getting them off task, and it's going to be a whole other task for them to get themselves back to where they were before your disruption. So avoid that as much as possible. So to recap, 1, a written follow-up, because it does 2 things. It provides the person the information in writing which they need and like, and if that person is a visual person, it also helps give them a visual delivery of your message. 2, provide enough but not too much time. You need to give them time to get your request to their calendar, but you don't want to give them so much time they forget about it, or that your project goes by the wayside. 3, prioritize and spread your requests, because you want to avoid causing even more sensory overload than what they are already dealing with. 4, stay focused and be consistent. If you're talking about project A, stay on project A and then move on to project B. The person needs to be, they're having a hard enough time keeping all the stuff that's happening in inside their brain to cool off. So having you adding to the chaos doesn't help the situation. And finally, respect their time and space. It's nice to be nice. It's nice to be kind. The chit chat is cool, but most people with ADHD have built in some free, chill, relax, breather kind of time. So if you want to chit chat, try to catch them during their relaxed time. That way, they have time for you. All right, that is all we have for today. Good morning, world. Have a great day.